Hello everybody and welcome into PGR eSports live from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. Tonight, the Intimidator Superspeedway Series will take on the Gen 6 cars for the Dan Utley 47. Thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Not sure if we're going to have a full co-host in the booth here tonight. Baker's down on track racing, as is series owner Michael Triscaro. Dawson Wise currently covering another league. He may hop in later, he may not, but nonetheless, we are ready to get to some good racing here tonight. All right, let's hop right down trackside and get into it here tonight. We'll get things kicked off with your starting grid. Garrett Maines takes the pole. He will start first here tonight in the Gen 6 field, put down a 51.916. Andrew Navarro will roll off to his outside in second. Sean Boundy back in third. Alex Hill in fourth, with Joe Armstrong in fifth. Cody Nagels in sixth. You got Matt Lee back in seventh, with David Sheets rounding out row 4 and 8th. Matthew Baker in ninth, and Stephen Miles rounding out your top 10. Michael Triscaro will roll off in 11th here tonight, with Michael Guest back in the 12th spot. Moving on back to row number 7 and 13th, it's Daniel Eberhardt, Trevor Osnoff in 14th. Justin Mills 15th, with Malik Ray in 16th. Jeff Merck, Chris Walker making up row 9. Landon Velicki and Freddie Bosnez making up row 10. Joshua McCullough will start 21st, Larry McDonald 22nd. Aubrey Thompson back in 23rd, with Ron Morse Jr. in 24th. Back at 25th starts John Ward for Hyper Motorsports, Mike Davenport 26th. Chase Mistretta and Mark Vondell make up row 14. Ethan Eckert 29th, and John Darnell in 30th. Brock Westerlund back in 31st, Jared Haynes in 32nd, Eric Wilson 33rd, Brian Hennings 34th. Timmy Lewis Jr. back in 35th, J.R. Miller in 36th. Back at 37th is Teresa Spiker, with Noah Lurch in 38th, Jonathan Herbert in 39th, and Tyler Vickery rounding out your top 40. Moving on back to 41st in the field, it's Joe Herta with Greg Spiker back in 42nd, Dylan Jones 43rd, Logan York 44th, Christopher Carter 45th, Nim Silva in 46th. You've got Ken McCullough Jr. back in 47th, Danny Barnes 48th, Edward Fielder 49th, Tucker McClendon in 50th, Josh Gambrone 51st, and Jimmy Emos rounds out the field tonight. He will start in 52nd. Moving on to your race info here tonight. It is the Dan Utley 47. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but we are in the NASCAR Gen 6 Series. 47 laps is the distance here tonight. 45% fuel, 2 tire sets, and that includes the one that these guys are going to be starting the race on, so got to be conservative. No fast pair fixed setups, and 3 green light checkers if they were to need it. Weather outside, nice day, cool temp. Air temp wise 72, track temp though is scorching at 130 degrees, clear skies, winds at 2 miles an hour, and we are ready to go racing. All right, here we go. Pace car are going to make the left turn down below the apron and into the pits for the first time here tonight. Field in the hands of Garrett Maines and Andrew Navarro. It's the last race before the SummerSlam, and it's going to be a memorable one. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We are underway at Talladega. All right, lap 1 is in the books, and it goes to Andrew Navarro rolling that top lane. That's kind of the groove that we expected to be the most favorable here tonight. These Gen 6 cars, they are all about momentum, and where can you get the most of it? On that top lane. The 48 right now sitting in second. We've had a couple new guys, making a turn here tonight, but Sean Boundy, no surprise to see him running towards the front of the field. Cody Nagels up there as well. But how about the 48 machine sitting in second? That's Alex Hill. First time he's been in these Gen 6 cars in more than just a little while. He made his recent return, but wrecking out back. Caution is out for the first time here tonight. And, oh, man, big stack up parking lot in turn number 3. I don't see a whole bunch of damage yet on a lot of these cars, but it is certainly... It was a roadblock there for just a moment. We'll see who's able to walk away from this one, and we've got anybody that's potentially going to have to retire. Looks like the 7 there of Danny Barnes is able to get back off the banking and will get rolling on a flat apron. Only 3 laps in. Certainly didn't take long, but they were heating things up, not only at the front, but towards the middle of the field. Let's see where it all goes wrong here. I want to go to either the blimp. I'm not sure if I want to go to the blimp cam first. No, we're going to start with TV3. And watch, there's John Darnell up top in the 99. And that's not where this starts. That was just a general idea. I think Darnell actually, unfortunately, gets collected, but it starts even further up than that. There's the 92 of John Ward. I think he might have been one of the first guys to get out of line here. Yeah, sure enough, he was. So we'll play it slow. There's a checkup on the outside. I'm not really sure what causes the checkup, but that checkup is what ultimately leads to that stack up. John Ward runs into the back of Davenport, or rather he gets run into, I guess I should say. And then the wreck's on from there. Watch Jeff Merck way up here. That gold 60 car left to your screen, top lane. Ooh, the 23 gets in the wall. Merck checks up, and it's just that stack up all the way back. John Ward, the first car that actually gets turned around. But multiple others collected. You saw the 12 get in there. He had nowhere to go. The 1-2-4 of Tyler Vickery. He may have snuck through, so he might be okay. But saw Darnell on the apron. Looked like he had some damage. The 4. Multiple others. And I was trying to figure out exactly how this second group, well, really got involved, because it looked like they were pretty far back. But watch the 7 here of Danny Barnes. This is as they're wrecking up front. The 7 just going to arrive on scene with nowhere to go. Yeah, it looks like that's pretty much the case here. Danny's still trying to get woed up, and that actually just gets on the brakes a little too hard. That car slides, and then when he's on the banking, he's not going to be able to get back rolling up, so he'll instead drift back down. Give you 2 more angles of this here so before we go back live and see what's going on again up front. Give you the onboard view here for John Darnell. And there's not going to be much that can be done about that one. Is if you're John Darnell there, he committed to the outside. It was really his only choice, but that hole quickly filled in, and John Darnell, not the way he wanted to start this race here tonight. But, I mean, looking at it from, I would say, pretty much every angle that we had at least, I didn't see too many cars torn up. I think for Ward, this is major damage with no fast spare. This is going to end his chances of fighting for a win here tonight. I mean, that was a huge hit. Same deal for the 12. Couldn't tell. Yeah, I don't even know if they're going to be able to continue. That might have been Noah Lurch. Nope, Noah's on the bottom. The other 12 machine, he gets a little bit of damage. Joe Herta didn't have anywhere to go. A couple others. There's the 69 sliding down the banking. Mark Vondel's trying to sneak through there, but I think he got some damage as well. This will be the final view that we take here. The 3 and 4 cam. It shows you how quick when they start to pile up, how easy it is to get all these different cars collected, especially when you slide up into the middle of a group. So as we do go back live, lights on the pace car are they off? Nope, still on. So that means we have at least 1 more lap to go. But right now it is Garrett Maines leading the way, Sean Boundy in 2nd, Cody Nagels back in 3rd, Matthew Baker 4th, and Justin Mills in 5th. Dawson Wise has joined us up here in the booth. Good to see you, Dawson. How you feeling tonight?
Oh, pretty good and encouraged by the size of this field. I was wondering how many guys would come try out these cars again. I love them. It's what I came back to when I came back to iRacing a few years ago. And, man, they're put on a show so far. A very unique style of racing. I love it, and it's the perfect way to get ready for next weekend.
Yes, it is. Well, we do have a couple announcements that we want to get through, along with a shout-out after. But first thing is, well, the reason that we have what the race is here tonight, the Dan Utley 47, and fortunately for Matthew Baker, this is a race that he did not want to have to sponsor for the way that it is, but his uncle unfortunately did pass away. And so to remember him in his honor, his favorite number was 47 for the car he raced. And so that is why we did 47 laps here tonight. And so far I know we've had a couple cautions, but we will have at least either a minute of silence or a lap of silence depending on kind of the pattern of the race. And if it's going green, we might do a minute of silence. If we have caution, we might go ahead and do a full lap of silence. But if you want to turn your attention towards the left side of the screen, we do have a picture of Matthew Baker's uncle, Dan Utley. in the car that he raced. I'm not sure exactly what kind of car that was, but well, that looks like it's pretty back in the day. It's got the Hoosier tires, and there's the number 47. So again, sad to hear that here tonight, and I know Baker's carrying a heavy heart, but we'll see if he can maybe find his way to victory lane here tonight. I know that would mean a lot to him, and if he certainly could, you know, he would be very, very excited during his interview. Now, the other thing that I do want to briefly shout out just before we get back going green is, unfortunately, in that last wreck, one of the guys that we saw involved was John Darnell. And by the way, there's no faster pairs here tonight. That's the unfortunate end of the spectrum. So I don't know if Darnell's going to return or not. Looks like he has returned on track. The 99, though, still probably a pretty fair amount of damage. So this race maybe not going the way he wanted. But I'll tell you what, he's a happy man right now because as of recently, he is getting married. Tiara Darnell to be his future wife. And man, oh man, John Darnell, what a great guy. I mean, you look on the track and what he's accomplished. And I know he was very excited to be running this paint scheme here tonight. So, Tiara, if you're watching, John Darnell wants to let you know that he wanted to give you a shout out. All right, here we go. 5 laps complete. Going to be 6 when we cross the line. Green flag is back in the air. We are racing again at Talladega, and it's a good restart for Garrett Maines. Cody Nagels going to quickly slot up in line just in front of the 34 of Sean Boundy. You could see already that Garrett Maines having to throw a block. And now the 47, couple spots behind. Now they're trying to line up for one more big push. I don't know if it's going to be enough here. That inside is really disorganized, though. They're going to charge down the back. Look at this. 3, 4, 5. Having to get clear. Oh, now Matt Lee almost gets turned into 3.
Yeah, he and Alex Hill were trying to coordinate that move. The Nightmare teammates were trying to coordinate that into 3, and it did not really work. They had to time it right. They did not time it right. Baker drops to the bottom. That special number 47 scheme drops to the bottom along the nose of Matt Lee as the field works off 4. 4 wide for a moment. Are they going to squeeze it back to 3? I don't think so. 4 wide the trial, but this is going to get sketchy in a hurry.
Yeah, the 12's in a really, really bad spot. I don't know. Oh, David Sheets.
4 wide now.
Oh, my goodness. David Sheets puts himself in a bad spot. 2, 4 wide into turn 1. How long is this going to work? Oh, trying to make it happen. The 12 had a gap. Wasn't quite able to take it. And further back, thought we may have had an issue, but it looks like they're going to keep it clean. And that 4 wide is going to now decimate back down to 3 wide. Boy, a big moment. But all that chaos has allowed that outside to continue its surgence at the front, being led now by the 6 of Cody Nagels.
Yeah, it's Cody Nagels' power move on the restart. Same with Alex Hill and his teammate Matt Lee. The Nightmare Boys lined up 1-2 in front of Garrett Maines. Joe Armstrong made a really aggressive move to the top in front of Sean Boundy. Boundy cut him a lot. Sack! Trouble! Matt Lee starts to get around. How in the world did Matt Lee save that race car? He was pointed at the outside wall. The fans could see the steering wheel from the grandstands, and he makes the save.
That's not the only thing they're seeing right now. They're seeing all this 3 wide up front, and I think if I'm a driver seeing some of this, I might have to back out of here again. There are no faster pairs here tonight, so I'm really a little bit, I don't know, surprised, if you will, by all this aggression. I know it's a little bit of a shorter race than what we're used to seeing, but my goodness, all that action, and that's where you start to run into trouble as, a little bit of a move right there, almost a crisscross for Andrew Navarro, and then the 10 who sits just in front of him. They were able to get that sorted out pretty quick. The 10 is series owner Michael Trisqueros now. He's going to fade to the bottom. He'll jump just behind. I think that's Malik Ray in the 5 machine. And he's pushing right now on the back bumper of Daniel Everhart. By the way, Michael Guest back in the field here tonight in that 54 car, running the top just in front of Trevor Oswanoff. And that top groove, I mean, they're not doing maybe as much pushing as Baker and Everhart on the bottom, Dawson, but they are certainly still maintaining all the momentum in the world.
Oh, for now, but Everhart is starting to chip away. Now he chips away a ton. Nagels top to bottom. That's aggressive. Back across the bumper of his teammate up top, and that didn't really kill him because now here comes Everhart. Will he get to his left elbow? Not quite. Malik has to back off. They made 3-car tandem here into 3. Trisquero doing an excellent job as well. Almost going to be 4 wide again. That was around Andrew Navarro and Joe Armstrong, but they sorted back out. And now we're going to be 3 wide, several rows deep. Garrett Maines drops out. So does Nagels. These guys are all over the place right now for multiple rows 3 wide.
Still through right. Oh, Navarro almost got into the door of Everhart. Man, that was really, really close. The one of Garrett Maines now in the middle. Nagels up top receives a push from his Nightmare eSports teammate, Cody Nagels. And I'm looking, and one of the guys that's caught my eye. Oh, got one on the apron. Hold on just a second. Is that, trying to figure out, that's the 92 of Ward, so he may have been coming off the pits, actually. So everybody's okay up front, 2x2 for about the first 5 to 6 rows. Then it's back to 3 wide. Michael Triscaro caught in the middle, but the 5 of Malik Ray is actually going to ditch Eberhardt and go with the 10 here of Michael Triscaro. I don't know how Eberhardt's going to feel about that later on, but right now it is what it is the fight for position still continue in the middle portions of the field. Landon Veliky trying to make his way through the field. He's not currently gained any so far. In fact, he's actually lost a position. So maybe he's fading a little bit further back than what some guys are doing right now based off the aggression we're seeing. But as each lap goes by, that aggression level is just going to continue to ramp up. 11 complete, Dawson, 45% fuel. I don't know the exact window for these cars, but you know there's going to be at least one stop. Not sure if there's quite going to be two, though.
It might. If I remember right, the window for these cars is similar to about what the Xfinity car is now, and in that case, it would be a two-stop race. We'll have to see, though, as they get into the latter portions of this run. They're holding nothing back right now, though. This is insanity at the front of the field. This is as calm as it's been, and they're only 2 wide, and they're still pushing really hard. Now, look at this. Cody Nagels, Alex Hill. Watch what they do here in 3 and 4. They drop down Armstrong. Look at Armstrong split out the Nightmare teammates. Another split. Armstrong in the middle. Now he gets blocked by Nagels. This is pure insanity up front right now. Here comes Coke Series driver Michael Guest with Matthew Baker in tow.
Well, Cody told me yesterday he had a little bit of a rough day, and I think he's maybe letting out some of that frustration right now on the racetrack because he is throwing some aggressive blocks. He's got to be careful, though, here because, again, at a certain point, guys are not going to like that, and they're going to try to get a little physical.
4 wide again.
Yep, 4 wide. Cody realized that, but right now the 4 wide, Joe Armstrong caught in the middle. Malik Ray there as well. They're scattered out back as we had one blinking in the middle. The 5 of Malik Ray is going to have to check up just briefly. That allows the 22 Armstrong to get tandem up. Watch for this middle to start surging when they get off of 4.
Near the bottom as well, because Cody Nagels has his teammate. Look at Baker top to bottom, right on the nose. That's precision at its best for Matthew Baker. That was an incredible move. He drops to the bottom and now leads that bottom lane. They'll be 2 the leader close by the time they get to 1. But that top lane, very, very tough. 3 cars at the front. Make it now 4. Justin Mills joins the foray, but it's Navarro, Michael Guest, Garrett Maines nose to tail. Here comes Matthew Baker to the race lead. He'll get the point off of turn number 2, and that's special number 47.
Yeah, an incredible run so far and an incredible scheme to go with it. Matthew Baker, again, honoring his uncle who unfortunately passed away recently, and he's got the same number and same paint scheme, in fact, that his uncle used to run during his racing days. And right now, I mean, I'm looking at Baker in the driver cam here. He looks tense. I mean, that makes me think that these guys, while they're driving these cars, they must feel a little bit on edge in that super hot track temp mixed with how aggressive you got to push in these cars. But, oh, look at this. Nagels is going to split him. Baker on the bottom. No man's land for now. But he will receive some help from Jeff Merck in the 60. That gives Cody Nagels the point in the middle. But it's still Michael Guest who leads up front on the outside.
Yeah, this is nuts up front. I mean, this is wild, big moves being thrown right now. Haymakers one way, then another way. Uh-oh, Navarro. Uh-oh, Andrew Navarro and Michael Guest. Is that the right move? Guest, man, I don't know how he was able to get back up. Nagels back to the lead. Hill with him. It'll be now Hill and Lee, the teammates on the bottom. Leading, I believe that is, I can't tell which car that is on the bottom in behind Matt Lee. Might be Freddie Bassinez in the number 9, although the 12 on the side of the car. This is ridiculous. Up front, Guest trying to grab the right rear, and he does. Nagels will have to go to the middle and guard, and now go back to his teammate on the bottom. I can't even keep up with all the moves up front right now.
Yeah, the real battle right now, and usually we don't see just 2 guys being kind of the main center stage battle, but it's really been between Nagels and Guest right now. I mean, they continue to trade blows here, and Nagels has tried a couple blocks. Guest continues to split him, so I don't know what the deal is between those two, but certainly no chemistry being shared as now Malik Ray dropped to the middle. He's looking for a push here from Navarro down the backstretch. That could get that line a lot of momentum, but I mean, you looking for guys that feel comfortable right now. I think everybody in this lead pack has to be feeling pretty comfortable with the way they're running. 204 just about into turn 3 that time for Michael Guest, who leads this group. By the way, I say group, we've got a couple of them that have formed up. This is the lead pack, but there has been a second pack that has started to develop. We're not going to focus on them too much, as right now that second pack single file, third pack still 2x2. But up front, as they run 3x3, 2x2 for the lead though, as Nagels getting a push from Malik Ray, Michael Guest being pushed by his Coke Series, or a fellow Coke Series driver rather, and that is Garrett Maines.
More paint traded by Nagels and Guest right there in 1 and 2. I mean, they are all over each other right now. Ray, can he get to the lead? No. We'll go bottom to middle. Navarro goes bottom to middle. So too does Alex Hill. Nagels back to the bottom. He'll bring Trevor Osborne off the long for the right. And that allows Michael Guest and Garrett Maines to, again, have an opportunity to take a deep breath here for a second before another wave, another onslaught from those cars behind them. Maines, though, not so fast. Drops down across the nose of Malik Ray. Garrett Maines to the point now in the 1. Guest waiting for the help of Joe Armstrong and a couple lap machines here ahead of the leaders, and maybe, just maybe, it'll start to call him out, but no. Right when I say that, here comes Andrew Navarro to the outside of Ray. Hill going to stay in line, stay put. 17 on the board, and finally a chance for the front 8 or 10 cars to catch their...
Navarro gets turned. Trying to hold on to it. Oh, they're still all trying to save it. Navarro back up the track. He's going to get tagged by Landon Veliky. A little bit more contact for Joe Herta in the 1. After that, I think everybody else is going to be able to escape. Navarro, pretty heavy damage there on the left rear. Can't tell yet if the suspension is broken. And I'll tell you what, Dawson, we kind of both went quiet there because I think we were both doing the same thing, holding our breath, wondering if they were going to save it. It looked like he did all but that. Right at the last second, Navarro finally lost it and drove back up the track. But by the time he did, he scrubbed off so much speed, the rest of the field saw it. And they all had a chance to dodge him. Well, just about. Not the case for Landon Veliky, of course, who looked like he took a pretty good beating in that wreck. And how much damage he's actually got, that's what we'll find out here in just a moment. But brings out your second caution here of the night with just 18 of 47 laps complete. And I'm going back here and I'm looking. Landon Veliky, his wheel's pretty far off to the left. I wonder if he's got any suspension damage, or if that's just the way they're running it. Either way, let's go back and take a look at what brings out your second caution here of the night. All right, going to go back to Andrew Navarro, where this whole thing starts out at. We'll go to the TV3 view first. So Navarro was up top here, and then as he turned down the racetrack, was this, or excuse me, this was, actually go a little bit further here. That was a little bit earlier, so here we go. All right, watch the 42. He's on the outside. He's getting pushed here by Michael Guest, and I have a bad feeling this is just going to go down as a push gone wrong. Let's see here. Full speed. That's what it is. You can see right at that last split second before Guest hits him, there's a little bit of adjustment from Michael Guest. Right there, Guest moves up just a little bit. So instead of just a nice steady bump, it's a little bit more like a kind of a mix between a bump and a swipe. And once you tandem up in these cars, they push great. But trying to make that first connection is where it's tricky. And just that slight offset got Navarro sideways, got him down into Nagels. But once he got into Nagels here and then slid sideways this way, I thought he was either going to save it or drive down through the grass, but just couldn't quite hold on. And now as he goes back up the track, it's the mad scramble to miss it. Joe Herta is able to do so, but he slides up, gets into the outside wall. Eberhardt makes some contact with the outside wall as well. There's Landon Veliky with nowhere to go. And then looks like the 16 is going to sneak through up top. I think I saw Matthew Baker in the 47 able to miss it on the bottom. But I mean, you know, Dawson, that's the nature of the beast. And really, I'm surprised it took that long with how aggressive these guys were pushing. But I'm sure Guest will, you know, say, okay, well, you know, a little bit offset, maybe just a little bit too much. I'm sure Navarro knows it wasn't anything intentional, and he may not mind if the damage isn't too bad, but if that's race ending worth, then he's probably not going to be too happy. Although I think he was in the back. I think he might be okay.
Yeah, it's the nature of these cars also, and they've always kind of been this way, especially now that, you know, they've been kind of tweaked over the last couple of years to be how they are now. The big wicker bill spoiler that we used to see on these cars, it's on these models, that just makes the runs from behind so massive. It just, you really get a run on the guy in front of you, and I think, you know, for Michael Guest right there, it's kind of, okay, I'm getting pushed. I'm coming up on him, you know, a little bit faster than I anticipate, and then you kind of have to try to act quick. And unfortunately, maybe, I don't know if he hesitates or if he just thinks, okay, well, as long as I hit him square, he's going to keep going straight. Problem is, you're climbing the hill, the car starts to kind of load onto that left side, and that's exactly the result. It's a tough break. It's nothing egregious. It's just a really unfortunate break for Guest and Navarro and Nagels and Veliky, as well as Joe Huerta, that it's just a push gone wrong. It's the nature of these cars, and it has been for a long time.
And you know, if it's a race where we have a fast repair, then, you know, I'm sure neither of these guys are mad at each other. They just learned something with, as you said, the way these cars kind of tend to drive. But I think the thing here is that, you know, knowing that there's no fast repair, you wonder, was it kind of too risky the way some of these guys were racing. I mean, sure, it's, you know, super fun for us to watch up here, but you don't have a fast spare. You kind of know the nature of how these races go with these cars. With when they wreck big, and that time you just wonder if maybe Navarro guessed, and I was trying to figure out if there was one more up here. Let's take one more view before we say anything here. Yep, the 22 Armstrong wasn't necessarily pushing, so I'd say more or less you wonder if maybe Guest is thinking maybe should he have tried to back it down a little bit or try to split him, do something that maybe doesn't put you in that position. But again, you said not a bad move, just one that in this case unfortunately just didn't work out. All right, so as we now go back up front, 20 of 47 laps complete. Malik Ray is being scored as your leader. And you've got Alex Hill, who sits on the outside in that 48 machine. Garrett Maines back in third. Brian Hennings in fourth. Joe Armstrong fifth. Greg Spiker in sixth. Great run so far for Greg. He's up 36 positions from where he started this race at. I know he's got a teammate in here in Teresa Spiker. And then after that, looks like we already talked about Brian Hennings. I'm looking at Joe Armstrong, David Sheets, Ron Morse Jr., even Matt Lee back at 9th, Trevor Osenoff 10th. All these guys going to have a great shot here. I mean, if you think about it, we're still not even technically halfway through this race. 20 of 47 laps complete, so still a lot to happen. But now, Dawson, this certainly changes fuel strategy up a little bit. What do you think? Do we still see that one pit stop? I think we do, but the question now becomes, do you run it out and pit with maybe closer to somewhere around 7 to 10 to go, or do you try to pit a little sooner?
I think the way this race is going, I want to get out of the pack as soon as I can and probably get away from it. But the way these guys have been up front, not really, wanting to play the strategy route, I imagine they'll just run it out and pit when the tank is dry, for better or worse. But I don't see anybody giving up track position in this race. But man, I'd almost want to get away from it. This has been very, very sketchy, edge of your seat style racing. They're right on the edge of control. I'd want to bail out, but I don't know if these guys will.
There was a brief talk that these cars were going to initially be the car in the SummerSlam after further decision back when it was decided it ended up going to the Xfinity car. But, you kind of can see the glimpses of why it is that this car was in the question, because the racing it provides, not necessarily just at a certain point of the run, but over the whole run, is phenomenal. It's like the next gens where if you want to be up front, you're constantly having to push as aggressive as you can. Oh, Reckon, David Sheets has gone around just past the tri-oval into short chute. Trevor Osenoff is involved as well. Now, we were going to be introducing Trevor Osenoff here pretty shortly on driver cams, and I can tell you that's not the way that we planned on doing it. Trevor looks like he's got some pretty significant right front damage. David Sheets off to a slow roll. In fact, that's if he's got rolling yet. That car still stopped, and now he'll start to roll. Let's go back and see what happened here on this restart. These wrecks are a little bit more rare nowadays to see something like this on a restart, and something goes pretty wrong here for David Sheets. The question is, what is it? Let's take a listen in the cockpit. Oh, man, he misses a shift. Yikes. In fact, I don't know if it would be I think it would still be considered missing a shift, but what he does right there is I believe he's going to go from, let's see. In fact, yeah, so I think what he does is he goes from second to first, because you got to remember on the H pattern shifter, first you start in first and then you shift down to go to second, then you have to go up a little bit to the right and up to shift to third. And so sometimes you have a tendency to just go straight up on accident, and if you do so, it's going to put you back into first. That's exactly what happened there for David Sheets. And well, poor Trevor Osenoff, he was just a victim of that one. Nothing he could do. Matt Lee got tagged as well. But Lee hit the outside wall pretty good. He might have a little bit of right front damage. Nagels almost got turned around, but he was able to save it. So, job by everybody to keep it, well, relatively the damage minimized. You saw they all had to scatter. Ooh, man, the 2 and the 16 had pretty good shots to the front of their cars as well. But that means that with this caution, we'll have to rack them up and try it again. And now makes that fuel window that much closer. What did you think of that one, Dawson? Just a missed shift?
Yeah, it looked like it to me. That's a really tough break for several guys behind him and for David Sheets. It's just kind of one of those things that it happens so fast. Again, kind of like the last one, but for a different reason. It just happens so fast that by the time you realize what's happening, it's way too late. And right there, by the time he's able to kind of get his bearings and realize, okay, I'm spun out, I need to get out of the way. He's been hit 3 times. Really tough break for Trevor Osbornoth. Hit him hard. That was a big hit for Osbornoth. Nagels gets some damage in this. I believe Freddie Bassinis was the other car that got some damage in this. And as well as Matt Lee. Matt Lee hit the wall as well. A lot of good cars. We're going to have to check the damage on. That might have altered their nights here with 25 laps to go. Some heavy hitters involved in that one.
There certainly was. 25 to go, by the way, now. But, I mean, if we look at the scoring tower even, a lot of guys still sitting in the pits. Now, granted, some of this is for strategy play, but we'll notice when they all come out. What we are going to go ahead and do is take a quick break. First one of the night. So we're going to go side by side, but the breaks here tonight, not going to be commercial breaks. We're going to put up the picture of Dan Utley alongside his race car. And remember, it's Matthew Baker's uncle, Dan Utley, who, again, fortunately passed away recently. We'll be right back. Stick with us. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. PGR eSports making its final stop here before next week's SummerSlam 499 big event. A lot of sponsors that have hopped on board, just to name a few. And again, we're still a week out, but as of right now, Prime Hydration has hopped on board, as has VRX Simulators, Kanawha Valley, Key, and Fob. Now, those are 4 very big-name sponsors, and I'm sure you've already heard of a couple of them. So be looking for a few more. Baker's going to be giving away a butt kicker unit. And that is I believe it's an attachment that you put to your chair, and it helps shake the chair around to coordinate it with what's going on track. So kind of helps if you don't have a full rig, helps you kind of feel like you do. So start looking forward to that, along with the prize payouts. Again, 1,000 guaranteed to the winner. And I know those are in the Xfinity cars, but the aggression level is going to be similar to what we're seeing here tonight. And so all the practice you can get is all you will take. All right, here we go. Green flag back in the air. Tyler Vickery. Some trouble towards the back as he had to jump out of line right off the restart. Not sure if it was just checkups or what, but as they get through the gears, it's the inside that'll get the major advantage. The outside, that's 74 of Brian Hennings, not able to get up to speed nearly as quickly. The 05, though, hanging tough. Thought that was going to be Joshua McCullough for a minute, but I don't think it is. If we go back all the way back, though, here to the 47 of Matthew Baker, currently the last car tagged on to this lead group for now. They're going to all have to find a way to get this figured out quick because, I mean, that front group, they're lined up. It's a lot of heavy hitters. They could be, or rather that second pack could be in danger of losing them. So you got to try to get together here and get it sorted out now and then worry about racing later.
Yeah, I agree. You got to get lined up. That's exactly what they did. They're running these guys down, but notably, these guys are running along the yellow line. Malik Ray, Alex Hill, Garrett Maines, and Joe Armstrong are all down along the yellow line now, not up against the safer barrier, which we've seen most of the way so far in this race. The first car out of line is now Daniel Eberhardt, but scratch that, he's back in line. First car out of line will be Michael Triscaro, and now again it is Eberhardt. Baker going with him. They'll have Triscaro and company on board here in a moment, and they will try to work their way up that dominant outside groove towards the leaders. It is all Malik Ray right now. Those about 5 cars on the bottom, clear in 3.
Malik Ray flexing some muscle as they work their way through 3 and 4. That outside line still has not got enough momentum to be significant yet, but they surely are by the time they get to the tribal, because Garrett's going to look up, tries to throw a block. Armstrong wanted to follow, can't do it. Now we've got even more blocks being thrown. Alex Hill tried to cover up Eberhardt. Eberhardt had to cover a push from Matthew Baker. And after all the stack-ups, everybody holds it together. 3 wide into turn 1.
I'm pretty sure Alex Hill didn't make any friends right there, especially not with the 90 or the 1, as those were 2 very daring blocks by Alex Hill in the 32 as he goes to the point. It'll be Eberhardt in line with him and Baker. Man, look at the run those 3 cars got together. Now they'll bring Garrett Maines and company back to them. Triscaro, he's got to get in line. He does, about 6 cars deep. That was going to be a disaster for Triscaro. Kind of got hung in the middle. A couple other cars there as well. Malik Ray, he's kind of dazed right now. They all just went around him. He's got a rebound here on the bottom of the racetrack. 3rd in line. 3 cars deep on the inside with Joe Armstrong. I believe Chase Mistretta is in that group, and Justin Mills brings up the end of the bottom. But it's all Hill, Eberhardt, Baker, Maines, Hennings, Merck, and Triscaro. The cars up top, 20 laps to go.
What I'm looking at now, Dawson, is the separation that we have through this field. I mean, this is incredible. We started, now I know a lot of guys have been caught up in a wreck, and in fact, looks like 44 still on the lead lap. We started with 52, so not too bad in terms of cars still on the lead lap, but I mean, if you look in this lead group itself, we've only got, looks like, do we even have 20? Yeah, we've got 21 cars currently sitting in this lead pack. Everybody else is either in the second group, the third group, or one of the scattered drivers that you see kind of on an island by themselves on the racetrack. And so I'm not sure. I know some of them that had damage obviously have an excuse, but for the guys that have clean cars, I don't really know what to say about them losing the pack this quick, especially with that hot track temp. I thought that they would have been able to prevail with the draft as big as this one produces, because you said earlier, Dawson, with that big spoiler, that big spoiler that they have on the back of these cars, that generates a lot of draft. That's why we see these big runs. So for that pack to get separated as quick as it did certainly shocks me, but up front, Matthew Baker back on point on the inside, leading in that 47 machine. And he can thank that to the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt, who gives him that push. Malik Ray just behind him. The 48 of Alex Hill, though, looked briefly like he was going to get clear, maybe thinking about dropping down, but whatever thoughts he had, he's going to have to think more about him because he is no longer cleared down. They're back to side by side.
Yeah, but not for long. It was an offset push from Eberhardt to Baker there. Got that whole line slowed up. Armstrong to the middle, 3 wide, and that'll really kill the momentum of that bottom lane. Armstrong looking for a spot on the top side, and that allows the top 3, almost 4 cars to get clear into 1. Jeff Merck has made his way to the fray. The gold and blue Navy machine, 4th in line on the outside. He has made his way in behind Brian Hennings, who's made his way to this race as well, and don't look further back. But the PGR teammates, Michael Triscaro, Mike Davenport, as well have made their way into this lead group and into a spot where they can contend for the lead. Almost more contact there, Alex Hill, Malik Ray, and now Eberhardt, Baker get clear, and it's Matthew Baker. What a special moment this is, alone on the point, but not for long. Eberhardt coming to spoil the party.
Boy, how much more special would it be if he can find a way to victory lane here tonight, but right now, he is stuck leading the outside. Justin Mills made a move to the middle. Doesn't look like he's going to get any takers. Oh, now the 10 gets turned. Michael Triscaro is going to get turned around. No caution just yet. Looking for where he went here. Michael Triscaro, I think he held on to it for the most part. The 10's going to have to jump to the inside here of Joe Armstrong. Can't tell from this view just how bad that damage is. We go to the rear chase. I don't see much. He may have held on to this race car, which is more than impressive enough in of itself. Let's back it up and find out.
He got the outside wall for sure. He tail whipped the outside wall.
Yikes. So that would definitely be some damage, but see how this happens here as they're coming into the tri-oval. He's fine there, fine there. The 22's got a big run. Looks like he tries to get high, but just doesn't jump high soon enough. Instead, clips the back end of Michael Triscaro. That turns him into the outside wall. Joe gets into the wall as well. And Triscaro does save it from there. So I saw that kind of the tank slapper, Dawson, that you were talking about, but I wonder if with a caution, is that car still fast enough to compete? Guess, well, there's no point in asking that question unless we do get a caution, because we're approaching 15 laps to go now. Still a pit stop to be made, but so far things are looking a little bit cleaner. That top lane established, as is the bottom, and they're giving each other plenty of room. Up top, you've got Matthew Baker still leading the way. Alex Hill, Garrett Main's just behind him. And then you've got Brian Hennings in the 74. On the bottom, though, leading, it's Daniel Eberhardt along with the 5 of Malik Ray. Justin Mills is in there as well. As now we're going to have somebody that's going to try to jump down to the middle here. Nothing to be found just yet, and continue to be impressed with what Freddie Bosnez has been able to do, not only in PGR so far tonight, but in the money racing scene in general over the course of the last couple weeks. He's done a phenomenal job, and he looks to continue that streak of good runs here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's running well so far. He's in a really good spot with that lead group. Now, this second group back here is led by Michael Guest. He's got Dylan Jones, Tyler Vickery, Jonathan Herbert, Mark Von Dell, Sean Boundy, as well as Greg Spiker and Stephen Miles. That is the second lane, or group, if you will. They started to gain a little bit. Now they lose some again. It's kind of come and gone as they've been able to push and then had to back out. And they were really gaining as that group up front was too wide. Now that they are, for the most part, kind of single out, not really side drafting each other. They're not really able to gain very much, but once this group gets, too wide again, they start to side draft. They start to clear up in front of each other. That second group is hanging around. They're trying to hang around, and it's moves like this that help them. Alex Hill to the bottom on the bumper of Eberhardt, and Baker down to side draft, and this is going to help that group led by Michael Guest.
Almost like two cars that just continuously slingshot by each other, making better speed. That's why that second group has not been able to catch them, at least not yet, but the 48 of Alex Hill, he's going to have a decision here. Eberhardt's either going to dive low or try to fade high. Hill's going to have to either cover or stay where he is. Looks like he's going to stay where he is. And so the move actually came from the 47 of Baker, who decided to jump to the inside. He'll look to retain the lead here off of 4. Can't do it just yet. Malik Ray pushing him. And up top, Daniel Eberhardt continues to push Alex Hill. So those two continue to work very, very good together. 13 laps to go now.
Yeah, only 13 to go. That pit stop, we imagine, is coming. I thought it was, and we're getting close to that window now where you're going to have to come down pit road for your final service. We're getting right around that 10, 9, 8 laps to go number that you mentioned on the last caution. 15 cars in the lead pack, all the way back to Josh McCullough and Jared Haynes, the last two in the lead group right now. Stack up. Brian Hennings, a couple of others. Bossanez, Malik Ray out of line. 4 wide for a moment. Hold on to it in 3. That's exactly what that Michael Guest group wanted to see, because now it's going to separate the leaders and allow them to gain a ton of time, because now this front pack is all kinds of disorganized, headed back to the tri-oval.
Yeah, they're only about 3 seconds or so behind. Remember, you have to get to within a second of a half to be able to catch some of that draft. So you said it, Dawson, and as they continue to try to get lined back up, that group's catching pretty substantially. They gained half a second. They're just through the tri-oval. And that's not because they were that much faster necessarily, but it's because that other group was still getting organized, which in turn made this group look faster. And I think now things have started to even out just a little bit. In fact, that front group is pulling away, but again, they need maybe, if nothing else, if they could get these guys to have one more slip up like that, they'll be there. They will get the draft and they will be there. But right now, I think a lot of people still hoping for that caution. Whether or not we'll get it, we will have to see. But Daniel Eberhardt right now sits in that second spot. Alex Hill leading the way. Garrett Main's, looks like Brian Hennings, Freddie Bosnez, Matthew Baker, Jared Haynes, Malik Ray, Brock Westwood, and Jeff Merck still all rounding out your top 10.
2.4 seconds from the back bumper of Josh McCullough to the front bumper of Michael Guest. They are very, very close to draft range now with 11 laps to go. It's now 2.3 seconds difference between the last car in the lead group and the first car in the second group. They're doing really good work. Trouble. Justin Mills is around and on the apron. He's backwards, but he will stay off the racetrack, and that will allow the race to stay green with 11 laps to go. Man, a bunch of guys almost got their saving grace right there.
Yeah, but that would have been the opposite of a saving grace for everybody in that front pack that was in good position, having a good run. But, ooh, coming off of 2, him and the 16 get together.
Stops.
Spins out. No harm there. Pit stop. So we go back live now. Daniel Eberhardt leads him in. Oh, big lockup from the 90 and the 1 of Maines, even the 48 of Alex Hill. These guys were getting in here for just about all it was worth. Big slides, flat spot on the tires, but they'll take what I assume, well, they won't take their whole second set. In fact, they may not even take tires here. This is probably going to be fuel only with only 10 laps to go, as the race is going to be on as soon as you get out. So the quicker you get out, the better. Let's see who leads them out here. Danny Barnes, that's not for position. Let's see who leads them out in terms of position. Ooh, Garrett's close, but it's going to go to Daniel Eberhardt. Malik Ray will come out second, and now it's 3 wide as they try to find a way to get into that final spot here. Garrett's going to ease out of it there, and he'll let the 48 and the 47 go by before he tucks in line. And so now, when do we expect that next pit stop? Here we go. That answers that question. Oh, big lockup for the 54, Michael Guest.
Tyler Vickery, I think he's speeding right here. The 124 was awfully quick on pit entry.
That is bad news if you're a Tyler Vickery fan.
Too.
And that's a double mistake now as everybody else works their way onto the pits. This is, again, the first time under green here tonight. It comes with just 10 laps to go. It's going to be 9 when they get to the line this next time. Waiting to see how this thing's exactly going to file out here. And looks like leading him out is going to be the 54 of Michael Guest. So came in the leader and left as the leader. Nicely done by Guest. We'll see if he's able to hold that, though, here for the second group as we watch. I wonder if I should go. Let's go to turn 1 entry here, see if we can't see him. Yep. So there's Michael Triscaro. There's the 16. What else do we have here? I don't know if I'm seeing that second group just yet. The point is, we'll see how everything pans out. 9 laps to go. It's going to be 8 when they cross the stripe this next time. Going to take one more break. It will be a very brief one, a lap, 2 laps max. Go get yourself a drink of water. Meet us back for the finish here at Talladega. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, the Dan Utley 47 for the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Right now up front, it is still D3. Daniel Eberhardt leading the charge with 7, but going to be 6 laps to go as they'll cross the stripe this time. Malik Ray in second, Alex Hill third, Matthew Baker fourth, Garrett Maines fifth, and Brian Hennings back in 6th. He sits with the second group. That's Jared Haynes and Freddie Bosnez. And you've got Ken McCullough Jr., Ron Morse Jr., and Joshua McCullough making up that third group. And me and Dawson were sitting here talking over break, and I mean, it's pretty easy to see right now that this front group, they've got this thing in the bag. I mean, this is a walkaway without a caution. That's the key phrase, right? So for now, they're more than content with staying lined up and just trying to see if they can make it to the finish here, rather at least make it to the white flag lap before they try to get racy. As it stands, they are all in payout positions. Speaking of payouts, real quick, do want to talk about what the payouts are looking like here tonight, because it's pretty big payouts. So here's what we've got. First, 350. Second, 250. Third, 225. Fourth, 200. Fifth, 171. Sixth, $100. And then seventh place will get a free entry into the Summer Slam. So, when do you make the move here, Dawson? I think if I'm a driver in this pack, for me, I think 2 to go I make them. I know I said the white flag, but I think I'm 2 to go. I'm starting making moves.
Yeah, two to go, and it's kind of interesting how this thing has turned out, because the 5 guys that are inevitably going to be in contention for this win, number one, none of them are really teammates. I mean, you got a bunch of guys that are either running solo tonight or running with different teams. Alex Hill for Nightmare, Matthew Baker for NBG, Garrett Maines has guys he works with, so too does Daniel Eberhardt, and Malik Ray kind of flies solo, has a couple guys every now and then, but none of their teammates are up here. And this is 5 guys who all have killer instinct. They all have what it takes to go and make a race-winning move. And that clashes with 4 laps to go because no one wants to help each other. This could get very discombobulated. I would be on the lookout if you're Brian Hennings or Jared Haynes or in company back around that 6th position. This could get very hairy at the front, but I agree. I think 2 to go is my target lap as well.
Well, right now we've got 3.5 remaining, and don't forget, you have got to get to the white flag for this race to be official. We've seen time and time again, you get close, but you don't get all the way there. Caution comes out, and that completely flips the results of this race on its lid. But, I mean, it'd only be fitting, right, for a race that had this stacked of a field with these high of payouts to end the way it is, with the cream of the crop rising to the top, and it being a race between some of the best drivers at the end. Now, we got to start picking out teammates, because as it stands, there really isn't any. Up here at the front, Daniel Eberhardt, Malik Ray, not teammates. Alex Hill, he doesn't have any teammates up here. He's got an ex-teammate in Matthew Baker. And then you look at Garrett Maines. He usually runs solo and actually enjoys it. So who goes with who? And it's an odd number of cars. So, oh, well, here we go. Going to see the first move. Baker's going to jump to the outside. I think he's trying to pull a little bit of draft off of these cars that are already at the top. Eberhardt, does he try to chase up, look for a block? No, he doesn't. He'll stay low with Malik Ray. Matthew Baker with a big pull off the lappers. He's going to get clear off of 4.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have gone that early, though. I don't like being in this spot with 3 laps to go. I did not want to be the guy leading the race. Now you can put the ball in the court of Daniel Eberhardt, Malik Ray, and Alex Hill. Now they can make the move. Do they go right back to it? Do they make the move immediately, or do they stay in line? If I'm them, yep, I do exactly this. I stay in line, but now, kind of a wild card. Maines and Baker go to the top side. They're going to have help from a couple of lap cars, Mark Mondell and Teresa Spiker. Wow, turn the race on its head here off of 2. Matthew Baker and Garrett Maines have some help.
That might be part of the reason that they stayed committed to that top, is for that reason. But if these 2 decide to drop out, which they very well might, then it's not going to matter too much. And I agree, though, Dawson. I think that move was a little early, especially, hey, so almost seemed like Eberhardt kind of let him go as almost like a trap, like bait, you know. Go ahead, you guys can have it. And, you know, he's going to be setting himself up for one more big one here to see if he can't make that winning move, because we are coming to 1 lap to go. White flag in the air at Talladega.
They're starting to back up. Malik Ray and Alex Hill have backed off the back bumper of Daniel Eberhardt. That kind of puts him in the no man's land zone here as they get into 1 and 2. It's Daniel Eberhardt third behind Garrett Maines. Does Maines step out on Baker, or does he push him all the way home? Matthew Baker is half a lap from one of the most special wins of his career. But look at the 90. Look at Eberhardt. He's backing up, and halfway down the backstretch, here comes D3.
Watch for the block. Does Baker throw? No, he doesn't. Hold on just a minute. Now things are going to shift up. Malik Ray pushing for all he's worth. Oh, Baker's going to get turned. Hold on to it, Baker. He's trying to hold on to it, but now Garrett's going to have to split him. 3 wide. It's Malik Ray who goes to the point. Never mind. It's Eberhardt off of 4. Malik, does he have one more move for Daniel Eberhardt? Nothing doing yet. Into the travel they come. Malik's going to look to the inside. No run there. Will he peek to the outside? He will not. Daniel Eberhardt wins it at Talladega.
They went too early. Matthew Baker, Garrett Maines, they went too early, and it cost them. They could not hold the side draft. Man, I thought if they could side draft in 1 and 2, they'd get the job done. Oh, my goodness, so they wreck after the checkered flag. I thought if they could side draft there in 3 and 4, they'd have enough to keep with them. It doesn't work out, and, man, Daniel Eberhardt, you said bait. I think that's exactly right. and he got him with the bait, and he comes away the winner.
Yes, he does. Let's go back and take a look at that checkered flag moment. The pass by Daniel Eberhardt and Malik Ray to make this move on Matthew Baker. And in fact, go back even further than we just did here. And so, you know, I kind of almost thought of it a little bit as the opposite, Dawson. You know, you had Garrett right behind Baker. I almost thought they got a little too aggressive on the side draft. I think they definitely needed to go for it the way they did. And I couldn't tell from the angle, so we're going to go to Chopper first, but I almost thought they tried to get too aggressive with the side draft, and that kind of led to some of the contact. But let's see here. So Eberhardt makes the move. Malik Ray is shoving the daylights out of him here. And then nothing there. I mean, Malik does kind of wash up a little bit, but I can't tell if that wash up is as a result of a little bit of netcode right there between Garrett and Malik, or if it's just from all the pushing Malik's doing to Eberhardt. But at the end of the day, what it is, it's just really aggressive racing. Two guys going for it, trying to push the guy in front of them. And I think Garrett was trying to save or stay with Baker, but by the time Baker saved it, the momentum was just gone, and Garrett felt like he had to drop low, which he does. But then once Eberhardt and Malik get even a little bit of separation from these two, that's it. We talk about how big of a run you get in these cars, but you need at least 3 for that second car to get a run. If it's just 2-on-2 like this, I mean, it's over. Daniel Eberhardt had it control from this moment on, and as they came all the way to the stripes, he is your race winner here tonight. All right, so we'll pull up the results, and then we're going to head over and get interviews from your top 3. Daniel Eberhardt is your race winner. Malik Ray second. Garrett Maines third. Matthew Baker finishes just outside the podium in fourth. Alex Hill fifth. Jared Haynes in sixth, with Freddie Bosnez in seventh. Brian Hennings eighth. Dylan Jones ninth. And Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 10.
Josh McCullough finishes 11th with Ron Morris in 12th. Michael Guest in 13th. Sean Bounty in 14th. And Jeff Merck in the 15th position. Josh Giambroni finishes 16th with Logan York in 17th. Chase Mastretta 18th. Andrew Navarro in 19th. And Cody Nagels finishes 20th.
21st here tonight goes to Stephen Miles. Back in 22nd is going to be Chris Walker. 23rd, Brock Westmoreland. Mike Davenport 24th. Eric Wilson in 25th. Jonathan Herbert, 26th. Noah Lurch, 27th. You got Christopher Carter back in 28th. Teresa Spiker, 29th. And Mark Vondell rounding out your top 30. Edward Fielder in 31st. Looks like you got Nim Silva, 32nd. Tucker McLennan, 33rd. Tyler Vickery, 34th. With Jared Miller, 35th. Aubrey Thompson, 36th. Larry McDonald back in 37th. Greg Spiker, 38th. Timmy Lewis Jr., 39th. And Trevor Oswanoth rounding out your top 40.
David Sheets, 41st. Michael Triscaro, 42nd. Landon Velicky, 43rd. And Jimmy Emos in 44th. Danny Barnes, 45th. Joe Huerta, 46th. Ethan Eckert finishes 47th with Matt Lee, 48th. Justin Mills, 49th. John Darnell in 50th. Joe Armstrong in 51st. And John Ward, the final car on the track tonight, in 52nd.
All right, we are going to go see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. All right, back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start first here tonight with your third place finisher, Garrett Maines. Garrett, this is all stuff in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you bring home a podium finish, and man, we're really trying to figure out what went wrong, because it was kind of a not necessarily a team effort, but you know, you and Baker were working together. It looked like versus 3 on the bottom. You guys made a move. Did you think the move was a little too early?
Honestly, I thought it was the right time. I mean, so there at the end, had the netcode between me and Malik not happened, I mean, there's nothing you can do. Even 3v2, like, you can't overcome that side draft. Not just blow the doors off, right? And we had a really good connection there. Just basically when I made contact, or, you know, netcoded Ray, it shot Malik up into Baker, turned Baker sideways. I had no choice but to go to the middle, because I'd already gotten there. It's like, you kind of have to take it at that point. And, I mean, they just allowed the 2 that were still hooked up to drive away. So that's kind of what went wrong. I didn't want to be sitting there in P5 because all we hear is they're wrecking on the back stretch, they're wrecking on the front stretch because of all of the hard pushing that was going on. And in my mind, if you're pushing that hard and you have a legitimate 0 chance to win the race, I was feeling the pressure to make a move and not be sitting in one of the worst possible restart positions. So, I messaged Baker. I was on my own in this race, so I messaged him and said, "Hey, look, we can go. If you want to go, we can go." And he made the move down the backstretch. I went with him. If the lap cars had stayed there, I think we would have been in a really good strategic position. But I respect the fact that they backed out of that and let us brawl it out. Just basically, if that corner had gone a little bit smoother, a little bit cleaner, I think we would have had a shot at the win, or at least Baker would have gotten it. I think that would have been the outcome. But, I'd saved the temps. I was ready to push him, just didn't get the chance.
Well, nonetheless, still a good run for you and Baker here tonight, both top 5s. You bring home the podium, though, and next week, it's going to be PGR, but it's going to be something a little different. Big event, the SummerSlam 499. I assume that you're racing in it. If you are, what have you been taking over the last couple of weeks, and how are you feeling about your chances in that marquee event?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize the end of July had come up so quickly, but I do plan on racing that. I don't really know how I feel about my chances. I mean, I feel like it's just another PGR race. It's just bigger. All the heavy hitters show up pretty much every week, so it's just going to be a little bit more, a little bit higher stakes, probably a little bit more team games, but I'm used to that because I'm by myself usually. So if I'm not by myself, you'll see Kevin in here and we'll work together. But hopefully I'll have some friends on the track, figure something out, run up front, survive the crashes if there are some around me, and, see what we can bring home.
Sounds like a plan. Well, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Since I don't have an updated scheme on the Gen 6 car, that's a future need for sure. I got to give a huge shout out to Scott at MCU Body, the one that would normally be on the hood here. Also, a big thank you to Lennox, the guys at FGR Excel, Left Court Brothers, and big shout out to the guys at Riker Performance. The car this week was insane. The driver was still working on Indy, but definitely had quite the piece. I'm starting to figure it out now, so excited for one more similar race at Pocono next week. I know we have quite the piece for that too.
Well, thank you for talking to us, Garrett. Again, congrats on that podium finish here tonight, and we'll see you in the SummerSlam next week.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see if we can get your second place finisher in here. Give us just one moment. All right, and now standing by with your second place finisher here tonight, which is Malik Ray, is Dawson Wise.
Yeah, hey Malik, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you fellas doing?
Man, we're doing well. We just watched a crazy race. You were out on the racetrack, and man, what a drive it was. Obviously, one in one spot better, but hey, still a good drive nonetheless. And, you got to take us through this last half a lap. We saw, Garrett and Baker. They got together. They went around you guys, and we said in the booth from that moment, it's a little bit too early. And we knew you and Eberhardt were planning to go back around them. Take us through that last lap, and especially that contact there in turn 3.
I think it really just depended on where Sean went. If Sean didn't go at us, then I don't think that me or Daniel is able to finish first or second. So he helped out a lot. And the contact in turn 3, I think, was net code because all 5 of us were hitting each other so hard. And, that just happened. I think me and Garrett net coded, and then it sent me up into Matthew, I think. And then after that, it was just, I just tried to just stay on the bottom and tried to stay center on Dan so that, I could push him out of the way. And that's what we did.
Well, it works out for you. And what a crazy race this was again. A totally insane start to this race. And look, we know there's kind of a mental reset that you have to go through going through different cars. Obviously, last week, the Xfinity cars at Atlanta, a completely different beast than tonight. But then you get in the next gen on Tuesday night, and you get back in this car tonight. Take us through, that mental reset you have to go through as a driver to get used to this car once again after it's been a while since we've run these in PGR.
I think they both drive, I'd say, like, pretty similar. It's just one has, like, like the runs are bigger, but that's really all. I just try to just make sure that, anytime that I'm in these things, I just try to stay top 5 the whole time. And sometimes it pays out and sometimes it doesn't. But tonight it did, so.
Well, it definitely paid off for you tonight. And before we let you go, obviously the last big race before next week's SummerSlam 499, and you capture a second place finish, a great way to head into next weekend. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
You guys broadcasting and Sean and Daniel for working with me at the end of the race. I appreciate it.
Well, a very fun race to watch, a very fun finish to watch, and you come out of it with the second position. Congratulations on the second place run tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
And that was Malik Ray, your second place finisher tonight. Leads us to the man in victory lane tonight in the Gen 6 cars. Played his cards perfectly and now ends up as the winner of tonight's Gen 6 race at Talladega. And that is Daniel Eberhard, D3. It's the boys in the booth. You get a copy.
I do.
Man, we said it, and I was just talking to Malik about it. We said when Baker and Garrett got out there, we figured it was a little bit too early, that maybe he had laid a trap and kind of just said, okay, you guys can go. We're going to wait. We're going to go ahead and just make our move when it matters most, and it works for you. You're in victory lane in PGR again. Take me through that last sequence at the end of this race.
Yeah, I was telling Dylan in Discord, I was like, man, it's kind of over with for me. I'm going to take fifth, and I'll take whatever pays, I was fine with it. And then I saw Garrett and Baker go behind. I'm like, well, thank you. You gave me a chance here. And then it all kind of got squirreled up there when the cars get to side drafting. It goes left to right, and you're just hanging on. And, Malik got into Baker a little bit, and then Garrett got into Malik. It was on from there. And then I guess it broke the draft up so bad. Everybody's so scared of, somebody jumping on somebody if they drag the brakes. So luckily, everybody was scared of that, so it helped me get the win.
Well, it certainly did, and we asked Garrett about this a moment ago, and obviously, feel free to tell us if you're not running. But we assume you'll be in attendance next weekend for the SummerSlam 499. Is there anything you can take from this race? I know it's a different car, but is there anything you can take from a race like this into an event like next weekend?
I really don't think so. It's hard because it's so much patience when you're driving these cars, and then you can just go up and just knock the fire out of somebody on their bumper, or and they can come up and hit you. It's totally different driving styles. Like you're pack racing more in the Xfinity car than you are this old Gen 6. So it's a lot more two-car tandem kind of. You can kind of get out there a little bit. So no, I think you're going to see a whole different kind of racing coming next week at the SummerSlam. I don't know if I'll be able to make it or not. It's going to be close to see if I can. Got to get permission from the wife, honestly. But also, I did want to say this before y'all get out of here tonight. My thoughts and prayers go out to Baker's family. I know how hard it is to lose a loved one, and I'm thinking about the Utley family. Hey, Dan drove race cars, and a Dan went to victory lane. If it wasn't a Baker, it might as well have been a Dan. So I was hoping Baker could have got it there, and we all got squirreled up, but it's hard not to go for it at the end, no matter what. And I just hope he's looking up there smiling, just laughing and cackling of all the craziness we put on for him tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And a victory for you tonight, a special night, obviously, here at PGR, and you come away as the winner. So before we let you go and celebrate a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, Michael Triscaro for putting up with all the madness. Baker each and every week. Kenny Real, he's getting there. He's getting better. Me and him had some words the last couple races, but he's getting there as the race control. He might have a new career right there. And thank you, Dawson, for all you do with the broadcasting, and Austin Green, PGR eSports. Y'all do a fantastic job, and none of this would be possible without the good Lord above. So thank you guys, and y'all have a good night.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much for talking to us, and congratulations on winning here tonight at Talladega. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. Boy, what a great race that one was. Certainly a good race to put on in honor of Baker's uncle again, Dan Utley. But, man, I'm telling you, Daniel Eberhardt, he put that move on at the perfect time. I think Baker and them still went a little bit early. Garrett said he felt like he was at the right time, and who knows? If that side draft works out, maybe we're saying a different narrative right now. But the way it ended has certainly left me excited for what we can see next week. Any closing notes before we start the road in preparation to the SummerSlam 499?
Man, I love these cars. I always have a special spot for them. It's kind of what got me back into this and into super speedway racing. So I always have a special spot when these cars come out and they put on a show. An insane start, a kind of calm finish comparatively. Kind of had a little bit of everything. 3 and 4 wide pit stops and then a great finish at the end. And again, I can't think of any better way to prep for next weekend, and I've been looking forward to it every single day. It's going to be a great event next weekend. I cannot wait. We're gearing up for it, making our final preps, and I can't wait to share the booth with you and Mike and Cody and several others next weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And again, make sure you let your friends know. Normally, I wouldn't be saying it, but it's a bigger event. So anybody that wants to come out, check it out, that's the time to do it. The PGR SummerSlam 499 prelims and LCQ will be next Saturday, July 27th, followed by the race on Sunday, July 28th. Exact times, I believe, are on some of the flyers. We'll have that out with the links. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But again, we want to see you all there. Hopefully you enjoyed here tonight, because that'll wrap things up. That's it for me, Austin Green and Dawson Wise here on PGR eSports. Till next time, have a good night.